everyone, this is R.S. Miller at the endtimenews.org, and today is June 30th, 2012. Today is the last day of the month, and it's time for the earthquake news. Now, we've had some 83 earthquakes of a 5.0 magnitude or greater this month in June, with 10 of those being 6.0 plus. In addition, there were 2 earthquakes just recently in Montana, which is kind of unusual. I'll just kind of go through this list here and show you guys a few of those earthquakes. This one is a 5.5 in Antarctica, 5.2 near south coast of Honshu, 5.4 in Xinjiang, China, 5.8 in Argentina, 5.0 in Potosi, Bolivia, 5.3 South Sandwich Islands region, 5.0 in southeast of Loyalty Islands, then 6.2 south of Panama, 6.6 south of Panama. Java, Indonesia had a 5.9, 5.3 in the Fiji region. We had a 6.0 in southern Peru, a 6.0 in Taiwan, 6.1 in the Philippines, a 6.4 near the east coast of Honshu, Japan, a 6.0 near the Aleutian Islands. Now here's a couple that I mentioned just a moment ago, a 3.7 in western Montana, and then another 3.7 in western Montana. Now this map is on the United States Geological Survey's website, and I have it set to display 300 earthquakes, and it's also for the month of June. And according to their stats over here, it says they had 6,835 earthquakes this month. And of course, this is only displaying 300, but I wanted to draw your attention to the clustering over here. Look at how many small dots are on the map here, representing earthquakes. Both, and this is the West Coast, California, the western part of the United States. Up here goes across the border into Canada. And even up here in Alaska area, they've been having a significant number of earthquakes as well. Also, the other thing I wanted to point out is look at these little dots in the central part of the United States. Those were all earthquakes as well. And this blue dot up here, that was up in New York. So we've been having a significant number of earthquakes this past month, although it hasn't been as high as it was, like I believe it was May. There was over 7,000 earthquakes in 30-day period. But I figured I'd give you guys a heads up on that one. Now in the news, the bloodshed in Syria continues unabated, and another 50 people were massacred in the Damascus suburb of Douma. The video clip that I'm about to show you guys contains graphic and disturbing materials, and viewer discretion is advised. I'll place a link in the box below so you guys can watch the full video if you care to do so.
Well, Relita, even as these diplomats are meeting in Geneva today, the bloodshed in Syria is continuing unabated. In the last couple of days, we've heard horrifying reports. Thursday, we were told by activists that over 150 people were killed. Yesterday, we were told that at least 70 people were killed. But also yesterday, the emergence of very gruesome details about what's being called a massacre that happened in the Damascus suburb of Douma. Now, we must warn viewers that there are some very disturbing images in this report. The pictures are painful to watch. Surrounded by corpses, one distraught man holds up the limp, bloodied body of a dead young girl. This is a new massacre by Assad, he shouts. This is a new massacre by all the countries that have conspired against our people. Also in the video, more bodies wrapped in shrouds lined up against a wall. evidence, activists say, of yet another horrific slaughter that's taken place in Syria. This time it happened in Douma, a suburb of Damascus. Syrian expatriates told CNN that pro-regime attacks escalated Thursday, claiming entire families had been executed. We have been unable to independently confirm what exactly happened, but the attacks left more than 50 people dead in Douma.
Ladies and gentlemen, the situation in Syria is reaching the point where there's not going to be any choice except for outside military intervention. And Kofi Annan warned Syrian talks in Geneva against failure. And down here it says, Mr. Annan told the meeting history would judge harshly if there was no deal on ending the bloodshed in Syria. Russia, which sees Syria as a close ally, is said to be resisting proposal that could exclude President Assad from a traditional unity government. Some 15,800 people have died in the 16-month uprising, activists say. Before the talks started, Russia said there was a very good chance of finding common ground, but a U.S. official said areas of difficulty and difference remained. Violence has continued in Syria despite a nominal ceasefire brokered by Mr. Annan as part of his 6-point peace plan. More than 180 were killed on Friday, activists said, after Syrian forces shelled a suburb of the capital Damascus and the restive central city of Homs. On Saturday, activists and witnesses said many residents were fleeing the Damascus suburb of Douma, which has come under sustained assault from government forces. An activist told the AP news agency that loyalists had succeeded in recapturing the rebel stronghold late Friday. The situation in Douma is catastrophic, he said. Well, I'll place a link in the box below and you guys can finish reading the rest of the story. But this situation is rapidly escalating out of control. And I wouldn't be surprised that sometime within the next few days or even weeks that some strong military action isn't taking it over that way. Now, in some other news, mysterious sound felt and heard in all corners of San Diego County leaves experts puzzled. Residents of Chula Vista to Oceanside reported a large rumble around 12:45 p.m. Friday. The mysterious sensation was described by some people as sounding like a door slamming, while others said it was strong enough for windows. A check of the U.S. Geological Survey website showed no earthquake activity. NBC Channel 7 San Diego's DeMar Midcap was in Del Mar at the time and described it as a sonic rumble, she tweeted. According to my contacts at USGS, not seismic, but rather sonic. 2 months ago, when San Diegans heard a similar sound, on Friday, however, Tina Stahl with the National Weather Service said there was no visible chaff in the area at the time the noise was reported. The mysterious sound had both residents and experts scratching their heads. Scripps Institute of Oceanography scientist Christopher Walker said he felt it too and looked into microphones recorded from MCAS Miramar. Evidence from his research revealed an answer. There was indeed an atmospheric tremor, or skyquake, Walker said. The likely cause of these skyquakes is routine military activity very far off the coast of San Diego, at least 50 miles away, in zones that are designated military training zones. Typically, we don't hear of these skyquakes, but when the wind reaches speeds over 100 miles per hour, the sound can reach parts of San Diego, Walker said. A spokesperson for Camp Pendleton said Marines are not training with anything unusual. They often train with various military equipment and will be training with tanks both Saturday and Sunday. Now here's a link to the original story there, and you guys can, I'll put the link in the box below and you can go there and check it out for yourselves. Dozens of dead and dying sea turtles wash ashore shows no sign of slowing down. The death toll of vulnerable green sea turtles south of Townsville has shown no signs of slowing down, with more sick animals washing up on the beaches today. Queensland authorities have carried out 2 helicopter surveys after more than 20 of the vulnerable species, mostly adult females, were discovered washed up on the beaches around Upstart Bay last week. 2 more were found on Friday on Wandjunga Beach, about 100 kilometers south of Townsville, and their cause of death continues to baffle scientists. A total of 73 dead turtles have now been discovered. Marty McLaughlin, operations manager of Queensland's Park and Wildlife Services, says the turtles were nourished with no obvious signs of illness. This is classified as an unusual event, Mr. McLaughlin told AAP. We now have better data about the number of turtles, but they are continuing to wash up. We still can't rule out poisoning, as toxicology reports have yet to be finalized. Now here's one in Ireland. Inland Fisheries Ireland investigating Wicklow fish deaths. It is understood that the problem was first noticed this morning and that large quantities of dead fish have been seen floating downstream all day. A statement on the Wicklow County Council website said that they have temporarily shut off raw water supply intake from Vartree River to our water treatment plant at Cronroe as a precaution. Local sources said reports have been received of dead fish as high up the river as Roundwood and as far down the river as Ashore. It is also understood that a dead heron has also been found, although it is not clear if it is related to the fish kill. A source in the Inland Fisheries Ireland confirmed the matter is under investigation, but would not speculate about how extensive the problem is or what the cause might be. Fish death spawns water testing. Pottersburg Creek, Environmental Ministry probe trying to determine if a spill or natural causes is to blame. Hundreds of dead fish lined the banks of floating belly up from a small bridge on Industrial Road south of Oxford Street. The roughly 500 dead fish ranged from a few inches to a foot long. The stench of fish hovered above the 150-meter stretch at the most westerly point of the creek where the dead fish were found. The Ministry of Environment said water samples were taken from the creek Wednesday, and testing is being done to determine if the fish kill happened because of a spill or natural causes. Rick Pedlow, City of London Sewer Operations Division Manager, said the city found out about the fish kill Wednesday and is working closely with the Ministry of Environment, who is taking the lead. We're just a resource for the ministry. They will give us direction, Pedlow said. Well, I just wanted to note here that according to an aquatic biologist up at the Upper Thames there, they think that this is a natural cause because of the heat. And it says here, I think this is going to be one of those summers where we will be seeing fish kills because it's so hot and the water temperatures are higher than normal. Then he goes on to say that this is the 3rd fish kill in Pottersburg Creek in the last 7 years. Well, we can look at each individual incident and come up with a natural explanation as to why it happened. But what we need to do is we need to take a look at the big picture. Now, part of that you can find right here on Midnight Watcher's blog spot. I just want to read you a little of this one story article here. It says, Ohio, dozens of geese, ducks found dead in Sandusky. Wildlife officials are doing tests on waterfowl carcasses and water samples in an effort to determine what killed more than 50 geese and ducks at a state care facility for veterans in northern Ohio. Okay, so we got dead fish, we got dead ducks, and I just want to go down and read you some of these headlines. In Canada, hundreds of dead fish line the banks of Pottersville Creek. Okay, that's one we just did. Here's another one we did. The large quantities of dead fish have been seen floating downstream. Then there's another one we did. Okay, Australia has dozens of dead and dying turtles. Then we have livestock disease in the Congo with 86% mortality, called worst epidemic in decade. 1.6 million goats and sheep are at risk. Then we have Georgia, biologists investigate cause of thousands of dead fish on Carter's Lake. In Hawaii, we have avian botulism outbreak kills at least 67 birds. Then, of course, this is another story on those turtles there in Queensland. Mysterious mass death of cattle prompts federal investigation. That's in Texas. In Florida, at least 75 dead seabirds found along stretch of Daytona Beach. In Canada, hundreds of dead fish found in Red Hill Creek, Ontario. Now, I'll place a link in the box below to Midnight Watcher's blog spot so you guys can come up here and read the articles for yourselves. But friends, we are certainly living in the last days, and although no one knows the day nor the hour, we will, if we watch, know when it is near, even at the doors. In addition to that, how many of us know the day of our own death? The point is that we need to be prepared to meet God at any time. Are you saved? Have you given your life to Jesus Christ yet? Follow the link below and pray the prayer of salvation with all sincerity, and you will be saved. It is my prayer that God bless each and every one of you with ears to hear, eyes to see, and a heart to receive. In Jesus' name, amen.